So, what do you do with sibling relationships that are just, after a betrayal? What do you do? What do you do? And so, I'm coming live today just to discuss strained relationships with siblings. It's not easy, okay? Especially when you've been so close, especially when you've been so close with your sibling, and then you experience disloyalty from a sibling. That betrayal is, is not easy. It's really not easy because you expect betrayal from friends, you expect it from acquaintances, from people that, you don't have a lot of, like people that are outside of, you know, your circle in terms of, you know. And so when you find someone, when you find yourself in a situation with a family member, and they have betrayed you, that's like devastating. It's a very devastating thing because family, obviously, supposed to be the people that, you run to, you go to, that you're protected, that you have a certain amount of confidence in. And when a family member betrays you, it can just really be so devastating. Like with me, my personal situation, right now, my sister and I have been, out of sync, given the recent situation. I'm not gonna get into a whole bunch of details, friends, but I'll do my best just to give you guys and gals a condensed version. So I have a cousin, and he's on another platform. He happens to be gay, which it matters. It's all a part of the context, right? So my first cousin, he happens to be gay, and he's on a different platform, right? And so this platform that he's on, I never heard of it prior to him. And anyway, so he's on it, he's doing his thing, he's making a lot of money. And so he knows that I'm on YouTube. And so he was, initially trying to convince me to, come on over to the platform that he was on. And so I was reluctant at first because, again, that platform, to me personally, after my personal experience on there, it's not really geared to what my content is really about. Like the majority of the content on that platform is garbage, in my opinion. It's garbage, You got people there fighting, you got people arguing, you got people, it's just it's pure debauchery. People on there calling the cops on people's children. They're sending protective services to people's house. They're getting people swatted. It's a hot fucking mess. And so I told him, I'm like, dude, I don't think it's going to work for me, not with my content. Anyway, he's my first cousin, family. So I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I wind up saying, all right, I'll give it a shot. So I give it a shot. I'm on that platform. And so with that platform is different because like you have to sign to agencies and this and that. And it's a lot of stuff, And so anyway, after doing all of that, I got signed to an agency. It happened to be two lesbians, there were a couple, they were wives. And so I'm like, all right, let me see, I don't discriminate, I don't care if they were gay, if they were straight, it doesn't matter. So I'm like, okay. So then, because he's been on a platform for such a, for a long time, he's telling me the things that I need to look out for. Things that, the agency that I'm signed to, they should be like, training me. He's asking me, okay, find out about the incentives, this and that, and this and that. So I go to I reach out to um, one of the wives on the agency, from my agency. And so she's like, well, we do training every Wednesday, like every third Wednesday or some crap like that. So I'm like, okay. So I attend the first training. It really wasn't any training because I didn't really learn anything about the platform. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm going about my business. I'm doing my content. So now with this platform, everything is about, people have to gift you, right? So they have these things called beans, which that's the currency. They're equivalent to like money or whatever. So you have to get a certain amount of beans, meet your certain tier, and that's how you get paid. So I think it was maybe somewhere around the beginning of April, I got onto the platform. And so the next month around the 4th, that's when you get paid. So I got paid. I made, just a couple $100, probably maybe about like, maybe a little under $400. So I'm like, okay, now mind you, my cousin, he's making 10, 15,000 or more every month. I would say more than 10, upwards to like 15 grand a month on this platform. So anyway, I'm doing my thing, But then I realized that the agency that I'm signed to, when I asked them about incentives, they were like, oh no, we don't give incentives, this and that. So I'm like, okay. So I tell my cousin, I said, they said that they don't do incentives. So he's like, no, that's crazy. Because basically what the agency is supposed to do, say for instance, if you have a tier, 60K, right? You're trying to make that tier and it's like 2-3 days left before the end of the month and you have 53K. Usually your agency will get you to the 60K. That's what a real agency does that, really cares about their host. So anyway, needless to say, he told me, he said, look, you need to switch agencies because, that they're not really supporting you, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, okay. So I go, he tells me, he says, listen, I got another agency. It's a chick that I used to deal with. She's in California. And, everything was good, but she and I had like a little discrepancy. So I was saying to myself, don't suggest anybody to me. And, this person is like, has issues or they, on some grimy type of thing. So anyway, he's like, no, she's good. You're going to be good. She does training. She supports her hosts, this and that. I'm like, okay. So reluctantly, I signed to this new agency. So everything is going good. So now my cousin, I'm getting to the end, y'all. My cousin says, well, I'm going to try, this was in June, I'm going to try to get you to, no, he didn't say that. He said, I'm going to get you to 100K. So I said, okay, that way, I could have made at least like $1,000, a little over $1,000 for the month or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. Now here's where my sister come in. So my sister, she does business with my cousin, meaning like, for instance, if he's trying to make a tier or if he's trying to, do whatever he's trying to do, she'll support him. So for instance, if she invests like $500, he'll give her back like $1,500, right? So it's a business thing for her. So now that I'm on a platform, he's trying to, build me. So he tells me, he says, listen, your sister doesn't have to really do business with me right now. Let her do business with you, get you built up, get your numbers up, and then, take it from there. So I'm like, well, because he's doing business on there with 3, 4, 5, maybe different hosts. That's what I'm saying. He's making upwards of maybe 15 grand or more every month. So I say, okay, let me talk to my sister. So I call my sister. I'm like, yeah, cousin said that, you don't have to really support, you don't have to do business with him right now, that he would rather you do business with me to try to build my channel, my numbers. So you know what my sister on the phone, over the phone, she said, well, I'm not going to stop doing business with him because that's how I make money with him. And I said to her, I said, well, you know what? I was so livid. I said, guess what? You can keep doing business with him. And I'm done. And so I hung up the phone on her. I blocked her immediately. Um, oh, no, I'm sorry. Something happened. So during the whole melee, I went live and I started to talk about it. Now, I didn't mention my cousin's name. I didn't, it was more so how I'm talking now. It's like a general thing about family, issues with family and betrayal. And so my sister comes into my live and she's texting me. She's like, oh, you need to stop talking about that because people gonna know who you talking about and it's gonna get back to him and this and that. And so um I was at work, I was on lunch. And so later on that evening, because on this app you gotta do 2 hours a day, mandatory, to be able to even, be up, doing your required time. So later on that evening, I went home, I got back on live. And so I get a call from WhatsApp from the agency owner. The chick, her name is Bossy. She's in California. And I'm saying to myself, why is she calling me and I'm on live? So I text her back and I'm like, oh, I'm on live, da 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 da. She's like, no, you need to come off now, da 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 da. I'm like, what? So literally, I am on live. I call her and she's saying that basically like I was flagged or the agency was flagged or something like that. She's wondering like, what's going on. And so in the back of my mind, it never dawned on me that she was referring to like that basically I had been flagged or they had been flagged and it was over my cousin. I was talking about some things about children and mothers and it was a little raw in terms of, mothers just that are not mothers and how they, how they don't deserve, their children because for whatever reasons they're like bad mothers. So it was that topic. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's a little salacious. That could have been seen as, I don't know, some type of bias or what have you. So I'm telling her, well, it's possibly that, you could have been flagged because of the content, the subject matter in which I was speaking about. Not knowing that it was my cousin, most likely that did that because, mind you, I was almost at 70K. Right before I wound up like saying the hell with the app, I noticed that all of my beans were gone. Now, because he's so like familiar with the app, he knows administratively how to go in, take things out and stuff. And because he had gave the beans, he was able to take them back. So I'm like, wow. So once I realized that, I said, you know what, I'm done. Like basically, it's not about loyalty, which is what family is supposed to be about. It's royalty, which is money. And that's what they're leading with. So I was just livid. I was so hurt. I was so like almost heartbroken. And it's not about the